Let's do a Q&A. I usually do a Q&A on my Instagram once or twice a month, and I always get a ton of great questions. And I get some crazy ones and some really persistent ones from the same people typically when I do it. But I don't have a ton of time to go in depth on my answers there. So I wanted to jump into some of the questions that I didn't have the opportunity to answer yesterday, or they were just really great. And I wanted to talk more in depth here. I don't know if I'll get to all of them, but let's have some fun. So let's start with easy ones. Do you still talk to AJ? Yes. AJ and I were real life best friends. We met in FCW when we were both developmental talent. When I first got my contract for WWE and I moved from Houston, my hometown, to Tampa, the developmental training center used to be in Tampa. It's in Orlando now, and it was called FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling. And when I got hired, I had literally zero wrestling experience, and it was super intimidating. But AJ is amazing, and I love her so much. But she was so welcoming, and she also taught me a lot. And so did a lot of the other girls that were there at that time. But her and I, we just like had the same sense of humor, and there was just things that we really connected on. And so when we both had the opportunity to go up on NXT and travel, be on the road with all the other superstars on Raw and SmackDown, it was again like a super intimidating experience. And so we really helped each other out a lot. She helped me out a lot in the ring, and we just had such a great friendship. And for many years we traveled together, many years, a few years we traveled together. We used to room together sometimes. And I left WWE in 2014, and I think she might have left maybe a year or two after. And I've seen her over the years. I surprised her one year in Chicago for her birthday, and I also went to see Punk's, I think it was his second UFC match in Chicago. So I was there for that. And then I recently saw her in New York at the big event for a signing. So it's always such a pleasure to see her. We don't talk very often, but when we do see each other, it's so fun, and we just get to catch up on life. Okay, next one. I'm looking at my laptop, by the way, if you see me just looking off to the side. What was your first tattoo? So when I was 18, I thought I was hot shit, and I wanted to get a set of lips on my butt cheek. So it was me and my two best friends at the time, Leela and Amber. We went to this local tattoo shop. When you're young, you don't really investigate or learn about the tattoo artist like I do now with the work that I have, which is very beautiful and very expensive. But when you're young, you just want a tattoo, you just want a tattoo. So we went to this random tattoo shop on Highway 6. If you're from Houston, you know where that is. And it was like Bear Creek area. And we just went in, and I said, I want her lips on my butt. And I was pointing to my friend Amber because she had these really thick, beautiful lips. And so they had us go buy lipstick. We bought lipstick. She put it all over her lips, and then she kissed wax paper until there was one that just looked really good, and we used that as the stencil. It's not a good tattoo. And I don't think anyone's tattoo is usually a good tattoo, especially if you're really young. I just really wanted a tattoo. I had just turned 18. So I've had it for 20 years. I will at some point probably get it redone so it looks a little more vibrant, but the guy I don't know what he did because I don't know that much about tattoos, but he stenciled it with like a darker color and then colored it in with the pinkish red hue that it is. And like that line that he drew the stencil with never went away. So it's like this dark outlet. I don't know. There's pictures on the internet of it. That was my first tattoo. And then I got a small ankle tattoo around that time as well. And I think I didn't get any more tattoos until I got my full sleeve. And that was in, probably 2017, 2018. And then when I got my sleeve done, I was so in love with it that I ended up getting my half my back, the entire left side of my back is also tattooed by the same artist. His name is Stefano Alcantara. He's a Peruvian guy, and he's very big in the tattoo world. And I knew I wanted this sleeve forever, and I had just gone through my first divorce. I've been divorced twice. And I really just wanted something that symbolized this new era of my life. And so I spent a lot of time looking online, like on Instagram, for different artists that I loved. And I found Stefano's page, And when I had initially reached out, he had a 2-year wait. Like, that's how established he is, and he's very, very good. I think he has a shop in New York as well, and 1 or 2 in Peru. So I essentially I didn't want to wait that long, but I knew I wanted him to do my artwork, and so I made a deal with him that I would pay full price, but if I didn't have to wait the 2 years. So I had my clothing company at that time. I had a clothing company called Celeste Bonin for 7 years, and I had a videographer on retainer. So he would shoot a lot of my marketing content, and he was editing my vlog and my video content back then. His name is Alex, and we're still really tight. I have so much love for Alex. He's a super talented musician and videographer, just an artist. Anyway, so I said, if you squeeze me in between appointments when you have an opening and I don't have to be on this 2-year wait list, I will have Alex video the process and you can use the content too for Instagram, YouTube, whatever you want to use it for. So he said, okay, deal. And so he would essentially text me anytime he had like a cancellation or an opening. And so I got it done pretty fast. And I think between my full sleeve on my arm and my back, it was probably about 25 hours of tattooing. And so I got really close with Stefano because, what do you do for 25 hours in someone's chair? You just get to know them, you get to talk to them. He actually, I don't know if he's still a vegan. He was a vegan, and he talked to me a lot about, his reasoning for it and the way he ate and how it made him feel. And during that time, I was going through such a difficult part of my life that I was looking for a big change. And I had been kind of like a meathead my whole life. I was really into fitness and bodybuilding, eating a ton of protein, eating a lot of animal products. But I wanted to really make a huge change in my life. I was getting this tattoo, my divorce was over, I was like reinventing myself. And so a lot of our conversations that we had actually led me to try veganism. And I ended up being vegan for 5 years. And then I started eating meat again in the beginning of 2023. Okay, next one. So I'll actually link Stefano's information in the description. I'll put his Instagram and his tattoo shop, because if you are looking for really beautiful artwork, like the investment is worth it, the wait is worth it. Maybe you could work out a deal with him. But he's incredible, and I get so many compliments on my tattoo. A lot of people, because I live in Houston, a lot of people in Texas, when they notice my sleeve or my back, they'll ask me where I got it done, and they'll be disappointed that it's not local because you have to travel to Florida. But I always tell them, like, it's worth it because you're gonna have this for the rest of your life. And another thing I want to know about the process of getting tattooed by Stefano is I had the idea of what I wanted on my arm. I have all dark feminine archetypes on my arm, and this is Lilith here. She's the bigger one. You can Google that if you don't know anything about Lilith. And there's a lot of interpretations of her, but I have all dark feminine archetypes on my body, or at least in the back and the sleeve. But the creative process of actually designing the tattoo was so amazing. It was just so wonderful. And that was like a big part of the entire experience. So highly, highly recommend him. Okay. There's a question about reducing social anxiety. This is a really big one because this affects, in my opinion, everyone. I believe that we are, and I'm just basing this off of myself, the clients that I work with, the people that I know, my friends, my family. As human beings, we're highly energetically sensitive creatures. Like we can, we have our own emotions and our own internal happenings going on, but we are also so receptive of other people's energy and other people's emotional energy. And so when you're in a social situation, whether it's just one other person or a ton of other people or like a group of people, it's really easy to feel anxious and overwhelmed because you're feeling a lot of energy. And then on top of that, if you feel unsure of yourself or you're not as confident as you would like to be, or you're self-conscious, that can make it like 10 times worse. So something that I do to prepare myself for social situations, I'm somebody who really loves and enjoys solitude. It's where I'm able to just be in my own energy, process my own thoughts, and it's really where a lot of my creative work comes from. Content creation, the work that I do in my business with my clients. So I love solitude, but when I know that, I also love being social too. Like it's such a finesse. When I know I'm going to be in a social situation, I will make sure that I'm like really grounded, that I feel good in my body, that I Like I kind of prepare myself. So the practices that I do in general to help me with my overall mindset, my emotional well-being, and just the way that I feel energetically is things that are very meditative. So sometimes I do traditional meditation where I'm sitting still and, clearing my mind, but a lot of times I also like to do moving meditations. So I'll put on frequencies or music that helps me feel really connected to myself. And I will stretch and I'll move and I'll do really mindful, intentional movement. And it helps me process a lot of emotional energy out of my body, which leaves me feeling just really grounded and clear. And that helps me like, show up in social situations. Another thing that you can do is and this isn't like an immediate remedy, but when you spend a lot of time working on your internal world, like processing your emotions and, you know, kind of just moving through life, feeling everything that's happening instead of masking it or not wanting to feel what's happening inside. When you do spend time doing that, you have a lot of you have a deeper understanding of who you are and your innate value as a human being, so it becomes a little bit easier to present yourself in social situations and in public because you have a strong understanding of who you are, and that's an energy, and it's the way that you carry yourself, and it's the way that you perceive yourself, and so it makes it easier to interact with other people. Another thing that you can do is and this is more of like an immediate thing, like when you're in a social situation and you're feeling overwhelmed or you're like really overthinking and you're stuck in your head thinking about what to do next or what to say next, you can bring your mind, your awareness, and bring it all the way down into your feet. So you can be doing this while you're having a conversation with someone. This is like kind of, I like to call this your inner attention or your second attention. Let's say your first attention is on the external world. Let's say you're having a conversation with somebody. Your first attention is on them, listening to the words they're saying, interacting with the conversation and the interaction. And then you have a second attention going on the inside. And so this is the part where you're assessing your own internal world, your feelings, your thoughts. And so when you can take that second attention and bring your awareness down into your feet, where you're actually feeling the sensation of your feet touching the ground, grounding your toes, relaxing your toes, it takes all of your energy and your awareness into your feet versus it being in your head, which, if you think about it, your feet are the furthest part from your head. So if you have a tendency to overthink in social situations and it gives you anxiety, you can just over and over and over again keep bringing your attention down into your feet, and it helps reduce the amount of overwhelm and overthinking. Next question. How do you feel about people who sell and post nudes? I don't judge anybody. Like I really don't. You know, I have no judgment. I don't even know how to answer this. Like it's somebody else's life. It's not for me. I have done implied nudity and some topless photo shoots, very tasteful, never anything like super erotic. Uh, what really sucks is that a couple years ago, and I don't know who it was, I don't know if it was somebody I knew or if it was just somebody who hacked my iCloud, but someone accessed some photos of me from my iCloud that I did not want public and put them on the internet. And it was so devastating because it was such an invasion of privacy, and it just wasn't my decision and it wasn't my choice. And that's not what I wanted for myself. And so I've had times where I've been doing an autograph signing, and someone will bring a printed out photo of one of these leaked photos to me to sign, and it used to trigger me. It hasn't happened a lot, but it's happened enough for me to know how to react in the situation. Like it just used to really trigger me because it was such an invasion of my privacy, and it was embarrassing, and it sucks because again, it wasn't my decision to do that. Everybody has private stuff on their phone, right? It was for my eyes and whoever else I decided to share that with, my husband or my partner. But I don't judge anybody else who has nude photos or chooses to do nude artistry, or like who cares? It's not my life. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't feel that strongly about it. I just know for me that that's not a choice that I make. Next question. Let's see. Where can I get tickets to the gun show? Paw. You gotta pay for longer. I'm just kidding. I don't have anywhere where you can pay for that for longer. Would you accept a future Royal Rumble appearance? Yeah. So I was invited to the Royal Rumble in what year was it? I think like 2022, maybe. Whichever Rumble was in St. Louis, and I was invited as like a potentially like an alternate or something. So I went out and I really wanted to go because there's been several times throughout the year since I left WWE that I just went because they were in the town that I was living in. Like when Raw or SmackDown would come to Miami, I would go down there and see everybody and talk to people that still worked there that I knew. And so I was just excited to go to St. Louis and see everybody. It had been a couple years. I was on like a backstage segment, but I didn't end up participating in the Rumble, but I'm open to it. Like I left WWE on good terms with the company and on good terms with, the people there. I left because I was struggling. I left because I was just going through so much, and I was under a constant state of stress, anxiety. My confidence was really low. I had started to gain a ton of weight. I was just going through a lot, and I needed to remove myself from the environment and the lifestyle to figure out my life. So I'm if it's aligned and it makes sense, I'm always open to cool opportunities with WWE because I love wrestling, and I don't really have that. I don't have anything bad to say about it. So yes. Short answer, yes. And let's see, next question. Why has your face changed so much after you stopped wrestling? You looked cute then, but hot now. I think everyone's face changes as they age. When I started in the WWE, I was 23. I'm 39 now. So 16 years ago. And my face looks different because I'm 16 years older, but also I'm much leaner now. I take care of myself in a different way. When I was wrestling, I remember right before I got the title, I started to get Botox and lip fillers. And that was just, I don't have anything against it now. I don't do Botox or fillers anymore. But then I felt like I needed it. I felt like I needed to enhance myself again, like it was show business. I was on TV and I felt very self-conscious a lot of times. I felt like I was too heavy and needed to lose weight. And so anything that I could do to look better or feel better, that was kind of my mindset. And again, like I don't have anything against fillers or Botox, but I don't do it now. I just take care of myself in a different way now. Like I just know, and physically, yes, like I work out like crazy, and I run and I eat well and I'm hydrated, and I do exercises for my face to keep it looking young. But the way that I operate and move through life is different now. Like I'm not under tremendous stress. I don't have the anxiety that I used to have. It's just different. So my face reflects that. And thanks for saying I'm hot now. Let's do a few more. What do you eat? Is it strictly the same diet, or do you get fast food and coffees whenever you want? I typically eat around kind of the same things every day. I eat a lot of whole eggs, so probably 5 to 10 whole eggs per day, not in one sitting. And sometimes I only eat 1 to 2 meals. Let me backtrack. So I have been a huge fan of intermittent fasting for years. And intermittent fasting is where you eat for about 8 hours within the day, and then you're fasting for the other 16 hours of the day, and you're sleeping while you're fasting. So I typically don't eat my first meal till 11 or noon, and then I stop eating around 7 or 8 p.m. And within that 8-hour eating window, I'll have 2 meals, sometimes 3 meals. And I love fasting. Like I feel like I train on an empty stomach. I train fasted. I just feel like I operate differently when I don't have food in my system. And for a long time, I felt like when I would eat, it would make me really tired and it would give me brain fog. So intermittent fasting has been really amazing for me. And I really love my body composition right now. I'm leaner than I've ever been consistently. I love it. So intermittent fasting, explore that if you're interested in finding different ways to eat, like different frameworks for eating. Intermittent fasting, I'm a huge fan of that. And what I eat within that 8-hour window on a daily basis is usually 5 to 10 whole eggs, split through, a few meals. I eat a lot of steak. I eat chicken. Let's see what else. I eat a little bit of cheese. When I started eating meat and cheese again after being vegan for 5 years in 2023, I was like so obsessed with cheese again. I love cheese so much. So I have to kind of limit myself with that because I can get carried away. I eat a lot of Greek yogurt. Um, it's not really a ton of things that I eat, but like on a day-to-day basis, it's pretty simple. I, I eat a lot of tacos. I eat those keto tacos from HEB. If you're from Texas, you know about HEB. They make like a keto taco, and it's a keto tortilla, and it's so good. But I do eat that, like when I have cravings, like if I want to eat pizza or I want to eat chocolate or I want to have cake, I will have it because I just have the room in my diet to be able to do that because I train really hard. I train 5 days a week and I train pretty intense. I run a few times. I like to run maybe once or twice a week. I don't always do that, but I like to run. I'm just active. So when you have space to play in your diet, you don't have to restrict yourself. Any opportunity I have to get a big fancy coffee from Starbucks or somewhere else, I will. Like I like to treat myself. To me, it's like one of the pleasures of life. You don't always have to be super strict. It's really about finding like a system and an algorithm that works for you, and you can only figure that out if you stay consistent to a plan for a certain amount of time to where you have data and you understand what's working for you, what's not working for you. I've been, I started bodybuilding and doing bodybuilding competitions when I was 19. So I have been in the game for a long time in terms of different types of eating styles, different types of diets, and different methods of training. I at this point, like I like to say I keep it simple, but I don't think it's simple for most people that haven't been doing it as long. And so I would say like I have an expertise in fitness and health, but I'm a novice in a lot of other areas. I just know that has something I've been investing time and energy into for so long that I just have a really deep understanding of my body and what works for me. Okay, let's do two more. Let's see. What's the best way to rebuild your confidence when starting over from scratch? Okay, this is one I answered on my Instagram also, but this is cool because this is an opportunity to shift the way that you think about yourself. So if this is you, if you resonate with this question, like you feel like you want to build confidence and you feel like you don't have any, I want you to think about this concept. Like you're alive today. You made it through 100% of the hard things that happened in your life, and everybody goes through suffering. Everybody goes through pain and difficulties, whether you lost a loved one or multiple loved ones, or you had a really huge health challenge, or you were severely overweight and you got in shape, like you lost a business, like you name it, right? Like we've all been through grief and suffering, and you overcame it and you're here today. You're literally watching this video. So you have a certain level of wisdom, of strength, courage, resilience, expertise. Like you have a very unique genius within you because of your life experiences. So don't feel like you don't have anything to be confident about. You might feel like you don't have confidence, but if you can shift the way that you see yourself just a little bit and look back at your life and say like, damn, I overcame all these things. Like I do know a little something. Like I am someone who can overcome difficulty. I am someone of integrity. So it can be helpful when you're starting to change your relationship with yourself to have more confidence. In terms of like things that you can do to gain more confidence in general is work on your body, get into shape. If you're not into shape, get into a shape that you love, that like when you look in the mirror, you love the way that you look. And I know that's not easy, but I'm saying if you work on your body, your confidence will build no matter what, because it changes the way you physically see yourself. And you also feel better and you feel connected to yourself because you're like, I'm taking the actions on a daily and weekly basis to become the person I want to be physically and in my energy levels and all of that. So if you are working on your body, it is going to elevate your confidence no matter what, even if you're not at your dream body yet. Another thing that you can do for confidence is to have goals and then actually take actions on a daily and weekly basis to reach those goals. If you are moving forward towards a goal, even if it's a huge goal that seems very distant, the action of simply taking the steps to have that or be that will give you confidence because you are doing what you're saying you're going to do and you are who you say you are. So there's a level of confidence that comes from pursuing and achieving goals. And then the last thing in terms of confidence is if you are able to learn how to have mastery over your nervous system, Your nervous system is, think of it like, it is like, think about when you get triggered, like maybe it's your partner, husband or wife, or kids or a boss. There's something that they do that really upsets you or makes you feel afraid or makes you really angry. That's your nervous system getting triggered. So when you have the ability to have mastery over your nervous system, to reduce anxiety, just to feel grounded and connected to your physical body, you become a confident person because you're no longer affected by the external circumstances of your life. You have mastery over yourself. Nervous system work is something that has absolutely transformed my life, and it's something that I work with in my private containers with my clients. Like, I teach a movement system based on your connective tissue, and your nervous system runs through your connective tissue. And your connective tissue your connective tissue is a living, breathing record of everything you've ever experienced: acute injuries, painful emotional dynamics, trauma. So when you learn how to work with your connective tissue, and I teach this through postures and dynamic intentional movement, you're able to release your connective tissue, and it allows you to reprogram your nervous system. It's really cool. And that changed my life. That absolutely changed my life. So if that resonates with you, I encourage you to do a little bit of research on different ways that you can start to work with your nervous system, because it will absolutely change your life 100%. So one more question. It was my birthday yesterday. Would you consider doing OnlyFans or Feet Finder? Well, because it's your birthday. No. So I don't have anything against people that do OnlyFans. I think is a great way to make a ton of money if you know how to do it, and you got the body and you got the face. Same with Feet Finder. It's not on brand for me. Yes, I know I have done implied nude photo shoots and some nude photo shoots before, but it was never in an explicit, exotic way. It was more, what's the word? Why can't I think of the word? It wasn't erotic. It was like more artistic. And that's how I view my body and the human body, that it's a work of art, the human body, in the female form. But in terms of doing something like OnlyFans, it's just not on brand for me. I've worked so hard in my life to create success for myself, with my mind and my character and just who I am as a person. And yes, I am attractive. Yeah, like, I understand that my sexuality is a key part of who I am, but I just haven't felt like monetizing it in that way. It's just not for me at this time. And I think that's it. Let's see. After experiencing Alberta, I was just in Canada a few weeks ago. It's now -30. How do you help mental health with that one? I'm not an expert at this. I've lived in Houston, Texas, and South Florida. Like, those two places are warm and tropical and hot pretty much year round. But there was an 8-month stint that I lived in Ohio, right on Lake Erie, and this was right before my second divorce. And it was stunning to live right on the lake, and it was especially stunning when the lake froze. I had never experienced that before. But in terms of like it being really cold, didn't like it. And there was a period of time where I did not see the sun for more than a month. And it was very, very difficult to stay positive. I was also going through the process of starting my second divorce, so I was already going through a lot, and I wasn't close to my family. My family's all in Texas. I was there with my former husband. His family owns property up there on Lake Erie. So I was just really going through it in general. So the only things that got me through that was staying consistent with working out, because it just helps move that emotional energy through your body when you are feeling depressed or anxious or just sad. So staying consistent with your fitness and just moving your body. If you have access to like red light therapy, like a red light sauna or even like a red light pad, that's really helpful. And like, just if you have people around you, like friends or family that you love being around, I encourage you just to be around them more, because it's difficult. And I only had a little taste of that. So I can, my heart goes out to you in terms of learning how to navigate that and maintain happiness and fulfillment. But yeah, I'm a South Texas, South Florida girl. I don't claim South Florida. I just lived there for 10 years. I'm a Texas girl. Like, it's hot and humid here. But I will say, through any very difficult parts of my life where I was going through anxiety, depression, and sadness, even if I was in a beautiful state, the things that helped me the most were staying consistent with working out. It just gives you happy chemicals, and you just feel better after doing something that's strenuous in your body. And it just helps with self-esteem. And then my dog also got me through a lot of that too. So that is my best advice. And I think that's it for this video Q&A. Let me know if you guys like this. I'll do more of them, but if you follow me on Instagram, I'm consistently doing those a few times a month there too. So feel free to ask questions, something that you want to know, whether it's wrestling, fitness, content creation, speaking on camera, building a business, building a brand, whatever it is. And I'll see you guys next time.